Let's get down to business and review this film. Finally. What's going on, you guys? James here with another real review, and today I'm finally getting the chance to talk to you all about Disney's live-action adaptation of the 1998 classic Mulan. It has been a long time coming. I've had this review in the bag for a little bit of time now, but because of COVID-19 and this crazy pandemic, Disney has pushed back Mulan further and further and further down the timeline. The budget for this film was way north of $200 million, so this is a movie that they want to see a little bit of return on in the box office. Now, before I get into whether the movie worked or whether it didn't, if it's your first time here at the channel, welcome to Real James, where I talk all about movies and TV. So if you like everything you're hearing and seeing, go ahead and hit the big red button below and subscribe to the channel. Now, don't forget to also tap on that bell as well so you stay up to date with anything new. And please go ahead and hit that like button because it does a lot to help the channel. And in the comments below, get loud. Let me know, are you here for this movie? Are you excited? Did you see it? And if you did, what did you think of the film? Okay, guys, I gave you a little bit of background. This is the live action adaptation of the 98 classic, but if you still are really unfamiliar with Mulan, and I've noticed with a lot of these Disney live action movies, some audiences are actually being introduced to this intellectual property for the first time. So in case you're unfamiliar with the story, let's go ahead and dive into it just a little bit without any spoilers. Our story surrounds a young woman in China named Mulan, and she wants to fight to save the honor of her family and also save her father from war because he's kind of old, and the movie does a good job at telling you that he's kind of old. So what she does is disguise herself as a male warrior because women weren't allowed to fight in this war. She goes off, she does the best to honor her family, but encounters some very wicked forces along the way. Yes, I'm talking about the witch. So already, if you're familiar with the 1998 version, there was no witch, and there was also a character that I love so much named Mushu that is also not in this movie. So going into this film, I thought, okay, do all the differences work well in the live action? And I'm not gonna lie to you guys, I thought they did for the most part. It's not to say this movie's perfect by any means, but Mulan is really the best live action adaptation since The Jungle Book. I mean, we've been through Aladdin, which was not very good at all, Beauty and the Beast, which was awful, and we've seen The Lion King, which is technically amazing, but nothing about it was very original. And here, at least the thing that stands out the most is the addition of the witch and also playing to the history of Mulan's story rather than just, the funny comedic side of things. The animation really didn't dive into the history of everything, but in the live action movie, it lends itself well because it has a historical background. And it also looks absolutely stunning. I mean, the environmental shots are breathtaking, the colors pop off the screen, and everything felt very real because, let's be honest, guys, The Lion King was not really live action. Here you could tell they shot on location and they used, real people and not a lot of CGI for the most part. But what I did really like about this movie is that it proves you need to see it on the big screen. You can wait for Disney Plus, but I really feel like the experience is a lot different when you're watching it in a movie theater and you're engrossed in the environment that the movie puts you inside of. And staying on the topic for how beautiful the movie looks, the costume design here is incredible. I was actually set to interview Bina Deglar, who is the lead costume designer here, but unfortunately due to the pandemic, everything got pushed back and canceled. But man, the costumes look great. I mean, all of the outfits, whether they're in wartime or they're at home, look really good, and you can just tell there was a lot of care put into it. So I can imagine that this would get nominated even if it were just for costume design. I mean, it looked so good. Now, from what I remember in the 98 classic, Mulan had to really put on a facade. She had to be someone she's not, but underneath she had a soft heart, which is what Yifei did to capture the character here. You can tell she was able to convey that bit of emotion, and she was able to just tell the audience that, yeah, I'm rough and tough now, I have something to prove, but I also have a heart for people. And that really comes with her chemistry with Yoson An, who plays Hong Hui, and it's a character that you can tell is there just to service Mulan and her character development, but I did think that Hong Hui did a decent job at being the pseudo love interest. You can tell there's a connection there, even romantically, and I won't spoil anything. Let's just say it's not as explored as I wish it would have been. Now, another character I was really keeping my eyes out for was the witch. I actually didn't mind that addition. I thought that them taking away Mushu was a huge drawback for the film, and the addition of the witch was gonna be hit or miss, and luckily I think they hit the mark. Gong does a really good job at just approaching the role in a layered approach. It's not just, I'm the bad guy, or bad woman I should say, but I'm an antagonist that can grow over time. So you start to almost empathize with her performance here, and I think that's why the movie worked as well as it did, is because Gong was able to transcend your typical antagonist. So when you scroll through the cast list on IMDb, you're gonna notice that Jet Li and Donnie Yen are in this film. One does much better than the other, and that is Donnie Yen. Maybe that's because Donnie Yen has more of an impact in the film, but I really liked exactly what Donnie Yen did with the role. It was traditional Donnie Yen, but he was able to kind of scale back and understand that yes, he has this big platform because he's one of the best to ever do it, and he gave shine to others while still kind of being that role of like guiding and mentoring the soldiers. I really enjoyed Donnie Yen's performance here, and the supporting cast overall was okay, to be honest, and sometimes it brought the film up when it was getting a little bit boring, but again, it was serviceable. It was okay. And also, y'all, I am so glad that this movie did not force feed us an original song. I'm looking at you, Aladdin. Okay, so let's get into what didn't really work too well with Mulan. I really felt like they felt short in the flair department. When it got boring, it got real boring real fast, and that's due to the script being a little wooden. It was almost too serious sometimes, and yeah, I know the movie's trying to lend itself to the historical value of Mulan, but guys, this is a Disney live action movie. You can get fun with it. And I didn't feel like the movie kind of broke through to that other layer of movie making. Looked good, like I said, but it didn't really hit me and make me, I guess, have fun with the film. And then there were a lot of force-fed moments. I mean, there's this one on-the-nose sequence where Mulan is fighting and she's in the thick of things. She like raises her arms or something and there's this phoenix that comes from behind her. And I thought, okay, I get what director Niki Caro was trying to do here, but it didn't really flow in the moment, and there's a lot of, I don't know, sequences just like that where things just didn't necessarily flow through that scene and just, I don't know, hit a roadblock for me. And I know we just touched on the supporting cast, but man, I love Sima and Jet Li, but boy were they misused here in this movie. Let's start with Sima, who is the father to Mulan, and it was just very one-dimensional. The whole time it just didn't seem like he really broke out of his shell, and I know he's a great actor, but here in this movie they kind of forced him into a corner, and he was just there for some moments, and I'm thinking to myself, this is Sima, this dude's a legend. Why are we pinning him up against the wall here? We need to give him some freedom. And then there's Jet Li, who plays the Emperor, and you would not know he was the Emperor if the movie didn't tell you. I mean, I get it. He's on this chair and he's got this like flair and everything, but like he's not impactful. Like you think of the Emperor and you think of someone who's gonna lay down the law. To be honest, I just felt like he was just filling in the role there. He was just sitting in the chair and he wasn't necessarily doing much with his performance. I don't know if that's him and his approach or if that was really the script, but I know Jet Li can do much better than this, and he was just one of the weakest performances of the entire film. And then there's Jason Scott Lee as Bori Khan, who is the right-hand man for the witch. I know I said I like the witch, and she's a different antagonist for a Disney live action or a Disney movie in general. But man, Bori Khan here is just one of those characters that is so forgettable and is so traditional and generic. I just thought it was a snooze fest. Like the entire time I knew where this was going. We've seen this before, and I did not want to say that about any of our villains here, because in the original Mulan, I felt like the movie did well to kind of like play up these villains and make it kind of sinister for me as a kid. And here I was thinking, am I just older and that's why I don't resonate with this character? Or is it just a bad performance? And honestly, I think the character is just written really poorly. And for all of the beautiful landscape shots and everything that looks so great in this film, there's a handful of moments that are just so green screen. Like, it is distracting to all heck. And then as I was leaving the theater, I thought, what could have put Mulan over the top? And that would have been Mushu. Not having him in this film is a bummer, and that's because in the original movie, Mushu provided levity and gave a lighter tone in between the big serious moments in those battles. And in this live action adaptation, it is serious the entire time. I think having Mushu, or even just a lighter tone in general, might have made the film go from that okay to good category. So overall, guys, that's pretty much where I stand on Mulan. It is okay to good. I didn't have a terrible time with the film, and I really appreciated that this was, again, the best live action movie since Jungle Book, but the bar was not really raised as high after Jungle Book, so unfortunately a lot of those other live action movies are not that great. Here, Mulan really lends itself well because of the historical value to the story. The battles look great and everything is so beautiful on screen. But when you get past all that beauty, you start to realize that maybe the actors were limited by the script. It wasn't the other way around. And I think maybe the script needed to either be revised or they needed to, again, add a character like a Mushu to bring levity to the story. Alrighty, you guys, well, there you have it. That's my take on Disney's live action Mulan. It's a film, again, it's good, it ain't great, but hey, if you liked everything you just heard and saw, again, go ahead and hit the big red button below and subscribe to the channel. Now, don't forget to tap on that bell as well so you stay up to date with new reviews just like this. Go ahead and smash that like button, and down below, comment, get loud, let me know, what did you think of Mulan? Alrighty, guys, well, I'm gonna go take some singing lessons because that intro was a little rough, but let's try it again. Let's get down to... Oh, stop? Okay. Guys, again, thank you so much for watching, and I'll catch you at the next screening.